Welcome to another Kevin's English School's English learning video. Today, we explore how polyglots learn English and other languages. A polyglot is someone who has learned a few or more languages. Did you know that some polyglots can speak more than 10 languages fluently? That's right. Polyglots, those language aficionados, have a remarkable knack for acquiring and using multiple languages. It's not just about speaking 2, 3, or even 4 languages. Some polyglots can converse in a dozen or more tongues with the same ease as you or I might switch between English and, say, the language of emojis. These language virtuosos not only master the grammar and vocabulary of many languages, but they also grasp the cultural nuances that underpin them. They can switch between languages like chameleons changing colors, adapting to different cultural contexts with grace and ease. Imagine being able to chat with a Parisian in French at breakfast, negotiate in Mandarin over lunch, and then unwind with an Italian novel before bed. Isn't that amazing? Now, let's dive into how they do it. Polyglots have their unique ways of learning languages, and it's not as complicated as you might think. So what's the secret sauce? Well, there's no one-size-fits-all approach, but there are some common threads that weave through a polyglot's learning journey. To start with, polyglots often emphasize the importance of immersion. This doesn't necessarily mean packing your bags and moving to a new country, although that would be an adventure. Instead, it's about surrounding yourself with the language you're learning. This could be as simple as changing your phone's language setting, listening to music in the target language, or even labeling household items with sticky notes. The goal is to make the language a part of your everyday life. Next up is regular practice. Remember, consistency is key. It's better to study a little every day than to cram in a marathon session once a week. As one polyglot puts it, language learning is a marathon, not a sprint. This is where language learning apps and flashcards can be your best friends. They allow you to squeeze in a quick study session whenever you have a few spare minutes. Finally, polyglots learn through context. This means they don't just memorize vocabulary lists or grammar rules. Instead, they learn words and phrases in the context of sentences or conversations. This helps them understand not just what to say, but how and when to say it. It's about capturing the spirit of the language, not just the letter of it. Some polyglots also recommend learning multiple languages at the same time, especially if they're related. This can help you see the connections between languages and even speed up your learning process. But this isn't for everyone, so it's important to find what works for you. So, there you have it. These are the methods that polyglots typically use to master multiple languages. It's not magic, it's method. It's not about being a genius, it's about being dedicated, strategic, and a little bit creative. As you can see, it's all about immersion, practice, and context. Now, onto what they study. Polyglots don't just study grammar and vocabulary, they go much deeper. Indeed, polyglots, those language whizzes who master multiple languages, engage in a more comprehensive study than you might initially think. Their approach to language learning is far from rote memorization of words and grammatical rules. Instead, they delve into the very soul of the language they are learning. One key area polyglots focus on is culture. You see, languages are not isolated entities. They are deeply connected to the cultures they originate from. To truly understand a language, one must also understand the culture it's rooted in. This includes studying the history of the people, their traditions, their beliefs, and even their cuisine. By doing so, polyglots immerse themselves in the mindset of the native speakers, which in turn gives them a deeper understanding of the language. Then there are idioms, those quirky phrases that don't translate directly, but are rich with meaning. Idioms provide insight into a culture's unique way of viewing the world. For instance, an English speaker might say, "It's raining cats and dogs," while a Spanish speaker might say, "Está lloviendo a cantaros," which translates to, "It's raining pictures." The meaning is the same, but the expression is unique to each culture. Polyglots make it a point to learn these idiomatic expressions as they add color and authenticity to their language use. Finally, let's talk about dialects. Yes, polyglots don't stop at the standard textbook version of a language. They dive into the various dialects that exist within a language. This is because dialects offer a more nuanced understanding of a language. They reflect regional variations, social class differences, and historical influences. By studying dialects, polyglots get a more complete picture of the language and its use in different contexts. So it's not just about the language itself, but everything that comes with it. Let's move on to how they keep all these languages active. Keeping multiple languages active in the brain is no easy task, but polyglots have their strategies. Indeed, maintaining fluency in multiple languages requires a delicate balancing act. However, polyglots have honed their methods to keep their linguistic skills sharp and ready for action. Let's delve into some of these strategies, shall we? First and foremost, polyglots emphasize the importance of regular use. Just like a muscle, if a language isn't used regularly, it can grow weak and rusty. So, polyglots ensure they use each language they know on a consistent basis. This might involve reading a book, watching a film, or even having a conversation in that language. It doesn't always have to be a grand gesture. Even small daily interactions can keep a language alive and kicking in the mind. Another vital strategy is thinking in the language. This means not just translating words from your native language into the one you're learning, but actually forming thoughts in that language. It's a bit like switching the operating system of your brain. Not an easy feat, but one that can significantly improve fluency and understanding. This immersive approach helps the brain to process and respond in the language naturally, without the need for mental translation. Moreover, language interchange plays a crucial role in keeping languages active. Polyglots often engage in language exchange programs or find language partners to practice with. This provides an excellent opportunity to practice speaking and listening skills in a real-world context. It also helps to maintain a certain level of comfort and familiarity with each language. But it's not just about the speaking and the listening, it's also about the culture. Polyglots often immerse themselves in the cultures of the languages they're learning. This helps to keep their interest alive and fuels their motivation to maintain and further improve their language skills. So there you have it. Regular use, thinking in the language, and language interchange. These are just some of the strategies polyglots employ to keep multiple languages active in their brain. And that's how these language wizards juggle multiple languages. Amazing, isn't it?